Yo, test, test, test. Can you guys hear me? Make sure we got all the audios right and I haven't messed up anything would be ideal. Hope you guys are doing well. We can hear you. What's up, RPG? Oh, let me see. Everything's looking good. I'm dropping a few frames, but nothing terrible. But let's go ahead and get started. We got a lot to cover in like an hour. So, get the normal out of the way. If you're new here, if you're not, welcome. If you're the OGs that come back, welcome as well. This is Rainbow Trend Stream. We do it every Thursday, once a week. Hang out here for about an hour. It's your guy, Rainbow Runner here, and we'll go over charts, market sessions, theories, thoughts, crypto, stocks, whatever you name. And if you're curious why any of the stuff is colored the way it is, definitely go check out our website, rainbow-trends.com, and you can find out all about rainbow theory and whale theory and how it affects markets, and even learn about some of our beloved OGs who use our tools. But anyway, a minor update as well. We had an issue with the synchronization of when we rolled up the latest website. So if you're having any issues, everything should be good. We fixed it now, but if you don't, just reach out to me. Not a big deal to get something manually fixed. But full disclaimer as well, this stream is intended to be used as educational purposes only. It's not intended to be used as financial advice. Even if you were to mistake this for a charts channel or crypto or any type of financial advice, this is clearly an art channel, as you can see with all our pretty colors. But I wanted to start with a few things and not go straight into the obvious thing that you guys think I'm going to go into. This is a good one to remember. Good, great video, and it's one of the reasons why the market is acting the way it is. Not directly, but I'll get into it.
Your ATM is safe, your banks are safe, there's enough cash in the financial system, and there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. An infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
An infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love? Wouldn't you love somebody to love? You better find somebody to love. Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love? Wouldn't you love somebody to love? You better find somebody to love.
Anyway, it's a great segment into what we're here for today, and that's going to be the markets of S&P 500 taking an absolute nuke this week. And it wasn't terribly expected. We covered it on the last stream, and we're starting to see the channel walker break. And you know how we watch channel walkers. Sometimes they can blip in, sometimes they can blip out, but we've been watching the S&P 500 go on a pretty decent channel walk for since November of last year. And a lot of this, in my opinion, was people thinking that the Fed's about to cut and the money printers are going to come back online. That's what all this video is. It's about the Fed's printing money. And simply put, all these bets are kind of off right now. The Fed's basically said they're not willing to cut yet. They're starting to see inflation pop back up. And I think a lot of the market is starting to realize, like, oh God, the money printers aren't going to be printing right now, and the markets have finally rolled over after doing this insane run. Let me check it real quick. What was this? Since we had the kind of the structure down break, the S&P went up 22%, which doesn't sound like a lot for you crypto degens, but that's a lot for the S&P 500. Plus, it went to all-time highs, and kept going. And now it's coming back and it's trying to find support. And this leg here is really what's spooking a lot of the market in all sectors. We're seeing gold pump, oil pump, DXY going all over the place, and you're seeing Bitcoin do some really, really weird stuff. But it's part of it, and we just have to keep an eye on it. The pivots up here that we've seen already, we've already kind of cut through the 4-hour cloud, and we've outside of the channel, and there's no more blipping this back into the channel. That's not really a thing. But we are going to have to watch where this thing does stop. This thing isn't going to go to zero. Knock on wood. I'd highly bet that it would never. But it's going to truck until it finds support. And all these barriers already that we have on the automatic pivots, they're kind of already played out. And now we're kind of looking for like the previous all-time high order block at like 4,800 to like 47. That's where we're really going to start seeing support. And if that doesn't hold, things are going to get pretty grim. I'm not bottom calling. I'm just saying like, hey, this channel walker's broke. You guys know the setup, the actual channel walker tool, the cloud, and then we actually have a formation of a channel here and it broke down. It's not a good look, no matter how you do it. Normally, these have to retrace for months, and it can get ugly. In crypto world, a lot of times they retrace like 60 to 80%. Like it's really gnarly. Go back and look at the old Ethereum charts that did this, as well as like the Cake chart has the channel walker that went like over 3 or 4 months. It was pretty crazy. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the stocks. I'm not going to go into a lot of other stocks today. I want to focus more on crypto because we are coming up to a special occasion. And I just learned how to do this, so I'm very excited. So I posted this about 10 minutes ago. Nobody but Bitcoin wizards going into the halving, and this is Zach Val, if you can't tell, one of the actual ordinals. I'm so happy I learned how to make these. Because guess what? We are 23 hours and 58 minutes from the halving. It's going to be happening tomorrow for the most part. Oh my gosh. It's 144 blocks left. It's my number. That wasn't planned. That's awesome. Yeah, this is a huge deal. And I'm going to go over some of the basics. There's a lot of people that don't really understand the halvings, and there's always these crazy media pieces about it. And I wanted to cover a lot of that today and why it is important. What's up, Keek? LD. Kimozabi, how you doing? What's going on? Now, the question is, why does everyone care about the halving? Happens every 4 years. What really goes on? Well, we want to talk about whales and market manipulation and everything else. The whales are fighting over Bitcoin supply. That's the truth. And behind that is the miners. Now, let me put it this way. Every Bitcoin that is tradable has been mined at some point, even all the way back to the original Satoshi wallet. That's how that happens. And you have to use computers to mine it. It's a long story. I don't have time to really get into all that. But this is what it kind of looks like at a commercial scale, a very, very, very large commercial scale. Regardless, these guys are in control of a lot of the price action. Not necessarily trading it, but they have to constantly offload the supply into what they're doing. And in 23 hours, we're going to have that big halving change. If you look here, this is the blockchain.com's hash rate explorer. You can actually see the hash rate over time, all the way back from like 2009, moving its way up with the price of Bitcoin. And this is basically showing you the amount of hash power, the computer power that they have going into the actual Bitcoin blockchain. Now, why does it matter, etc.? It matters a lot for a bunch of different reasons. If we go back and look at the original history of like Bitcoin going all the way back to like 2009, 2010, originally every single block, which this is the reason they call it blockchain, every 10 minutes the miners produce one block of Bitcoin. And way back when, it was 50 Bitcoin per block. After November 28th of 2012, they had their first halving, and it went to 25 Bitcoin per block. And then in July 9th, 2016, it went to 12.5. May 2020 went to 6.25, and we're about to get down to 3.125, so 3 1/8. Now, why does this matter? These guys are running, miners in general, always have expenses. They're always burning electricity. They're always running people, having to hire people to run all their equipment. And then the equipment over time, after each halving, becomes less productive. So the same Bitcoin miners that were getting 6.25 blocks every 10 minutes when they won, we're now getting equivalent of half that at 3.125. So a lot of this equipment, and you remember in the original picture, all those little machines stacked up, these are what these things actually are. These are the these in particular are the Bitmain versions. But as you can see, they're not cheap. So what happens when your money makers overnight produce 50% less Bitcoin? Well, supply on the market is obviously going to take a hit, but also their cost and fees are going to get hit, and you're going to see a lot of miners struggle. Albeit in the last bear market, we had a F ton of miners not make it. So hopefully it's not as Can you hear me now? Sorry, I must have bumped the mic. Are we good on mic? No sound, sir? It looks like it's live again. Yes. So, as I had said, the secret hash key to life was 43. And moving forward, now, this is kind of the cycles as you can see it kind of zoomed way out. And this is why it's important. Every halvening is going to force supply crunch. A lot of the miners aren't going to make it. The miners' productions go down. And eventually the market slingshots into these crazy parabolic runs. It's done it every time since 2009. It's not that it's going to do it every time, but for the most part, we're betting on that it should and would, right? Or can. And so far, it's kind of already looking like we did, albeit we've hit all-time highs before the halvening, which if you look in the past is not really something that's happened before. So kind of go back and look at the old YouTube videos where we talk about that, because we've never been done before area is literally where we're at on a lot of fronts. I'm going to drop the links in the chat. You can find the YouTube videos there where I talk about going off the maps, because the people that try to do precedence in like binary, as in like it 100% has to happen or 100% doesn't follow this rule, are losing a lot of money, because there's a lot of people that kept shorting this thinking that Bitcoin would never hit the all-time high before the halvening, and it did. And that's unfortunate. So you have to, like, your theses need to be checked, that like you need to be cognizant in the moment that we're off the map. No matter what you do, we're off the freaking map. Which can be good, can be bad, but the thing is you just need to adjust like your probabilities. Nothing's absolute here. Bitcoin could go to zero tomorrow, could go 200,000 tomorrow, whatever. We don't know. It's typically not going to happen, but crazier things have happened. You could look at FTT investors, Luna, etc. Go look at old tulip charts, for F's sakes. But the point is, this big day's coming. It's here, and it's affecting the markets on a lot of different ways. And this is what it actually looks like zoomed out. You want to see the actual like 10, 11 year, or is it 14 years? I don't even know now, of Bitcoin history. I can't even get it all on the screen. That's what it looks like, and that's kind of what these halvenings are. And it's happening tomorrow. Now, typically in the past, we have seen these big pullbacks. When you zoom in here, it doesn't really look that bad, but this kind of pumped into the halvening and nuked. The previous one over here, we had the COVID candle, big volatility moment. So this kind of goes back to the YouTube video with the black swan that I talked about. Like, everyone's predicting the black swan, and then like 2012, it didn't really pull back. But we have seen halvenings that had big moments in them. And these, albeit while this looks very small, this is a very high percent down draw, which sucks, no matter how you spin it. So we still need to be cognizant, because we are at a very high altitude, and the trend has changed. The accumulation has been completed. We've come up on this huge run. We've come from like $15,000 all the way up to like $74,000 almost. Or did we actually hit 74? Maybe. And now we're kind of going sideways. And this is the setup we're looking at. And this is kind of the tweet you saw me focusing on this week. It's if you go back to the old YouTube video tutorial where I do the Wyckoff 101 with like Rainbow Theory, the 5-10 second version of the stream is prices go up, prices go down, and then they chill flat. And then they bounce through there and they chew people up, whales build positions, and then they either break up or they break down. It's not rocket science. People try to make this like crazy rocket science. The price only goes to the right, and it can only go up to the right and down to the right. Those are the three options: sideways, up, or down. And right now, we are here. Now, I've got both scenarios drawn out here. So people are arguing, trying to draw teams. We're all on the same team. We're pro Bitcoin. Everyone needs to chill out. But we've got either it's reaccumulation that goes up, or this is actually distribution that goes down. Regardless, we're not really going to bet on which side it is. We're going to try to protect ourselves to move forward and figure out how do we play this, because it's one of the three things, right? It's going to go to the right, it's going to go up, or it's going to go kind of down. And right now we're going to the right, and we're going through the chop. Now, the schematics are all over the place. People pick and choose. And I even saw someone post a Wyckoff schematic today or yesterday that had a plus 70% deviation in it. So that was new. I think if you're saying the top is in at 30 and count the mood to 74 as a UTAD, I think it's kind of a mental issue, insanity, but I digress. We're starting to see the front end. Somewhere in here, we're kind of in the middle, like 5 and 7, and the kind of the end of phase B of this schematic here. And there's really not too many options. Like I said, it's maybe we go into the halvening and it black swans like we saw on 2 halvenings ago, and that's what this black swan is here. Oh no. Or we're going to tag the support and we're going to come back up and do this UTAD test, right? Or it would be on the reaccumulation, it would be the SOS, LPS, whatever you want to call it. Up here, tag the resistance, and then we either break out or we come back down and blow out, and then we get like Black Swan 2.0, whatever. Albeit this will probably be like a bear market thing that'll just blow out for a while and then curve up. Or we talk about we're in the never been done before territories and we're just going to go back to 20K again. I really don't think that's the case. But that's the argument. And it's not even an argument. This is really I mean, maybe it does something different in between here, but it's still going to either go down through this support or it's going to go up through this resistance. The key to both of these is there's a support order block, resistance order block, resistance order block and support. It just depends which one falls. Right now, we've tested the support order block quite a few times, and you even saw like Don Alt talking about that. It's not a really terribly good look. But if this is a creek, if, and I'm starting, like, this is why I was posting it on Twitter. I was like, I think this is starting to kind of look like a creek. Normally, I want to see this point a little higher and then do a creek, but it's dragging enough to where I'm thinking this could be a creek where we get support, we bump out. If we don't bump out and we lose this support order block, it's bad times. Oh no. And it's not that I want that to happen. That's just like, we need to be prepared for this, because this is going to, if you thought alts looked bad like a week ago, this is going to look like way worse. And there's just no way around it. If crypto goes down or if Bitcoin goes down, the others are going to kind of bow to that one, and it's not going to be pretty. And it's just, that's how markets are. Especially if the S&P just keeps nuking and it doesn't hold at like 48, this is going to struggle. But to be honest with you guys, my biggest thing, we had the whole Middle East conflict really, and people were screaming like World War III, and bears hit $60,000. Like, that's it. That really, I think, was like bombs getting dropped, drones in the air, all that stuff. That was really, in my opinion, the time to break down, and they didn't. Even if it wasn't going to be like an act of like World War III, etc. Like, we know that's not like very likely at all. It doesn't matter with the whales. They'll just use the opportunity to use that moment and use it to make the chart look awful and scare people, because you can get panic in the you can get the panic in the charts, and it is what it is. You can force it. You can turn nothing burgers into a chart move. They will do it. Like, there are algorithms from these whales that manipulate Twitter, manipulate news. They drop articles. They do all this crazy stuff, and they profit from it while you struggle. It's just the way it goes. So, anywho, that's my initial rant going into this. Hope you guys are doing well. Let me check a few things. I want to make sure the back end and all that's working. So it looks like we're good. Cool. If you guys have any questions on that, please let me know in the chat. I'm gonna tweet this out real quick. A few issues. So, Black Swan, maybe. Doubtful. I mean, end of the day, if you hurt me, I'm real bullish on Bitcoin halvings. I still think the number goes up at the end of the day. I don't think it's over. Now, moving on to Flow. Flow has considerably slowed down. Very slow. And we appreciate that, Algo Aficionado. We're still waiting for the numbers to come in today, but we have had some down weeks, albeit this isn't just crazy. Barry Silbert dumping like 600,000 or 600 million a day. We're not looking at those levels. There is some bleed, etc. But at the same time, IBIT is still accumulating. And that's really kind of one of the things I've been focusing on, as well as Fidelity. Fidelity hasn't had a red day either. These other ones are kind of more erratic with their buys and sells. And then GBTC has just kind of been steady. This has been really interesting, though. We haven't seen a day where they've come back in and really done like 500 million, 200 million, etc. And it's slowed down their bleed to zero. But the good news is they're down now to 306,000 Bitcoin. This originally started off at like 650,000, 625. It was quite high up, way up there. And they've offloaded a lot of it, and it's gone to other places. But at the end of the day, this is going to be big on top of the halving. We get Grayscale out of the market. And when I say out of the market, when they're not dumping $100 million every single day, that's going to be really, really bullish for price. So it's something we're still going to keep tracking. I'll keep the Excel sheet updated in the Discord, and we'll go from there. So let me go back to that chart real quick that you mentioned. Let me try. I have to pull it back up. Hold on. You want to see volume profile? We can take a look at that. I don't normally use this anymore, but where's visible range, volume profile? All right, so we're back. So this is kind of what it looks like, but this is just kind of like a dead or a big bell curve in the middle here, showing you it's really loaded in the middle. You also kind of see the channel walker showing the same thing. That's kind of where the magnet is with all this PA. But you've got to realize there's a lot of leverage here where people have shorted here. So in my eyes, this move down has scared a lot of the bulls out, and a lot of bears have started to long at the bottom of this range. I'm sorry, the bears have started shorting at the bottom of this range. So if this breaks through down, it's going to be a really bad day. I'm sorry. If this, well, yes, but if it breaks up here and bounces, and this is actually reaccumulation through a jump across the creek, that's going to, we've already wrecked the bulls. This wrecks the bears too. And then the whales get to liquidate both sides. So that's kind of where my head's at. I think this hurts more people on the leverage side personally. But anyway. Yeah. I agree with that, Kimo Zabi, the price and the volume. I do watch the volume impulses a lot, but I'm not the Wyckoff people argue enough about these charts. Like, is this 10 degrees up here? It gets pretty crazy how far they take it, but the volume profiles, I've never seen anybody consistent on that, so I've more focused on the actual PA. opening at what level. I use my own liquidation levels tool, Vanity. I have a tool that can do that. I don't have it on right now, but we can look at liquidation levels. You can estimate them. You can other companies that do heat maps and stuff like that. You can take a look at. If we have time at the end of this, I'll pull it back up and we can take a look at this. But this was an interesting video I wanted to show. Give me 1 second and pause the audio, because this was kind of interesting. Because this guy's legendary. I'm not the biggest fan of him. I'm not a fan of him, but let me take a listen to this real quick. Let me make sure the audio's up. Yep.
It's been shown to be absolutely. We've seen what meme coins have done to Solana. I mean, the bullshit Solana TPS has been shown to be absolutely bullshit, as people have started to trade these things, and 75% of transactions have started to fail on Solana. So good luck becoming the new ETH of this cycle.
So there's a point to this. I'm not a ETH hater. ETH just really isn't for me, but mainly because I don't like the Alameda inclinations. But ETH was on probably the gnarliest run over the past 12 months that we've seen of any like major crypto project. And what was it, last week or so? Like 70% of the transactions have not been working and getting failed on Solana. And Solana has taken a 44% haircut. 44. This is bad. Now, I think we're actually starting to get to the levels of some support here, but the big thing behind Solana is the thoughts of the TPS was high enough to run like entire crypto exchanges. You could run any blockchain you want on it. I mean, people were bragging that you could mint like 200,000 NFTs on Solana for like $80. Well, the network kind of grinded to a halt. I think long term, maybe they're going to fix it and figure it out to where it doesn't do that. But like Arthur said, the whole TPS thing, that's a big issue. If their throughput's not what they say it is, it's a big deal. And people are going to start looking elsewhere. You can talk bad about Ethereum all as much as you want. Yes, transactions get very expensive, but it stays online and the transactions go through. But we're coming up to support here. And if you remember my stream from like way long ago, a few weeks back, months, I guess, my big thing with this Solana chart was this is the time to risk off before we get to this all-time high order block. If you've already done the legwork for this much of time and price, and you've chewed through the order books, you get to the very last order books, just close out, take your profits. You've already gone from $8 up to 200 on a 2,300% run. Now, we crushed through all these different levels. We've been tracking it for a long time. Look at this freaking volume expansion, accumulation, growth. But we got up to this last order block and we absolutely rolled over. And that's just kind of my thing is if you chew through all the order blocks, you get to the last one, just chill out. You can sit spot, you can wait. You don't have to stress this. 40% move was very painful for a lot of people. If it's going to clear this order block, you can always get back in. There's always another shot, and just wait till you start closing candles above, because it'll be really like soon as it was breaking all-time high, like Twitter's going to go insane and people are going to start screaming Anson, and it's going to go up to like $700 or whatever, right? I don't know what the numbers are going to be, but the point is you start closing candles consecutively above the all-time high, it's real easy to roll back into it. There's liquidity, all that type of stuff. You don't have to worry about it, and you can rock and roll. But that's my thoughts on Solana, albeit I think we're finding support here. So some of the traders I know that are really big into Solana trading, they're starting to layer back in and get some pretty crazy bids. And when we were in buy pain mode, this thing went pretty deep. And you can actually see we had this white candle followed up by a yellow, and then we actually had a whale print show up and say, I'm bidding. And those dudes actually got filled in below 120, which is pretty crazy to say, considering it was like over $200 not that long ago. Very volatile, especially for something with this much market cap. But when you see a type of coin struggle on a technicality, like a technical front, like transactions aren't going through, that's a big deal. So anyway, let me catch up on the chat real quick. Nexus. You can quote me on that. Calling 20 range distribution volume had reaccumulation. Yeah, 30K did look like it. I thought it was reaccumulation and it ended up breaking up again. But not many of the Wyckoff people, they weren't very vocal at that time. There was a few distribution ones, but I didn't see too much. Oh yeah, Sean, what's up, Sean? Have you guys seen the new volume candles on TradingView? I have, and they're kind of nifty, but I'm a little weird to it because look what it does to the split volume tool. Now I get your attention for sure, but I wish there was a way to. I wish they would add settings to this. Honestly, that way I could mess with it. Because if I could mess with it, that would be really cool. So, anyway, but it's good to hear you, Sean. So let's move on from Solana, and we can look at the next one that Arthur was talking about, Ethereum. Ethereum's looking bad. Ethereum's not looking good. There's no way ifs, ands, or buts around it to say it. Now with that, yes, amazing channel. Finally, Ethereum woke up and then it rolled over and now it's bleeding again. Like you hear me talk about bleeding, like channel walks bleeding like 60% typically. This one wasn't very long time wise, but like we've already come down 30%. So you're starting to do damage. Now, hopefully this thing gets going again. And even this one, I got a lot of pushback for it. But when you see a channel like that and a channel walker hugging it like in a straight line, it's only a matter of time before it rolls over. And the reason I can confidently say that is let's zoom out real quick and do a sanity check. No, guys, the trend's going to continue. Well, if the trend continues at that angle, right? You're talking about like end of year, like $100,000 ETH, 150,000. Like that's even below that angle. If I did the real angle, it's probably closer to like 400,000, which we know that's not going to happen. I mean, I'd love to be wrong and there's $400,000 ETH, but I'm not betting the house on that. So these type of trends, as amazing and as strong as they are, they can only be sustained for so long before the whales run out of powder. And that's just like whale theory 101. But anyway, that's cool, Sean. But that's really where we are with Ethereum. And I kind of want to go back to Bitcoin because market's picking up. Asia's not very happy. Things are going to get wild going into the halving. Like that's always the case. People are going to be shitting themselves in fewer words. Yeah, that's awesome. Not awesome, but it's awesome. So we had the breakout above this kind of like downtrend that we were watching, and now it's starting to nuke through it. We'll see. It's scary because we're right on the ragged edge, right? If we lose it, it's not good. It's bad, bad, bad. This is the last support before like 53,000. I don't want to entertain touching this red band. Touching this red band going into the halving is going to shake out a lot of people, which we don't necessarily want. I think we've already kind of had some resets, especially when you look at like the alts. Some of the alts have just been absolutely been nuts. Like Render, we actually got some entries on Render, but you like this is top AI coin up there with like Fetch, and you can see how bad it nuked into these reversion bands and then popped back up. And then right as this popped back up, we had Middle East conflict hit and it rolled back over. So I had to cut earlier than I would have liked to. But typically white candles into reversion bands like this will take it and send it much, much higher. This one wasn't all the way into the reversion bands, but we had guys catch that capitulation wick. And it ended up doing 117% move, while this one only did. This really stinks because I actually freed up some capital and bought some of these wicks. This thing only did 50,000 or 50%. That's actually really good, but it looks awful. Typically, when you see this much pain into the reversion bands, you can normally get this set up to where it hits the other side. Normally. It's not always. Nothing's always, but that's one thing that we normally can get, and it got killed off that part of the market. But anyway, since we've been talking to Jarman a little bit, I did want to bring this one up. This is Matic. Matic has been very unfavorable. That's actually a pretty awesome channel. I didn't really draw this as a channel walk, but it's really close, and you can see the channel walker tool underneath it hugging it. Hey. Mine works differently. Well, thanks, Rude Stool, for spamming the chat. And I don't have the I think I have to pull up Twitch to kill that. But anyway, ignore him. But yeah, that's that one. Now, back to some news. I thought we were going to go into the Bitcoin halving and have... well, let me see if I can ban him real quick. Nope. I can block him, but I can't ban him. Sorry, I just pulled it up on when I do that, but it won't let me. Oh well. This was something that was, everyone thought, and he knew better. He knew what he was doing. But Gary Gensler says it's been an honor to serve the SEC coverage chair. 9 times out of 10, this is what you say when you're leaving, and he stayed with it. So that was awesome. He ends up saying it's been an honor. We've done this much enforcing, and we're not done. We're going to keep working together. Blah 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 blah. I'm pretty ticked off he did that. I think he's just messing with us. Because of all the things he saved me from this year, not much. That really upset me. But anyway, moving on. Bitcoin Panda piped in today. Foo sees a ton of fear on the timeline. Could we go to 50K? Sure. 20K? Probably not. The question is the bull run over? Because if you're chilling on the spot with a responsible amount of cash set aside for expenses, short-term moves don't matter. Foo thinks it's probably not over. So we love Foo. And in the big grand scheme of things, we're stressing out over little time frames. People really got stressed out here, and price went up to 65K. And these moves here at like 9 to 10K, this really goes to the point, like, this is like, you should not be leveraging into a halving. Like, that's bad news, because like guaranteed there will be unpredictable price action going into the halving. That's just the way it goes. With that being said, Foo's got a really good point here. It's like, hey, y'all should be sitting and chilling in spot. I don't think the macro bull run's over. He's looking for this upside to hit, which history shows us typically does happen. But so far, this stuff is going to wreck a lot of people. And I've had people DMing me about altcoins and stuff this week. And I've just told them, like, guys, you really shouldn't be messing with hyperactive alts going into the halving. Like, if we get this candle here, or we have a very, very big issue with like the Middle East popping back off again, the price is not gonna have a fun time with it. Now, and the truth be told is, price right now is really reactive to a lot of stuff. One of those things is, let me move over to, I can't zoom in on the BLX chart. So, like I said, price doesn't really look like it was super active, but the Israeli stuff did pop off a lot of stuff here and made markets, like, as soon as the tweets hit, like bombs were flying, price went down, and a lot of the alts reacted like that as well. The alts like capitulated. Like, this was straight up. You can see this string of well prints here. That was when like the stuff started flying towards Israel. I'm not commenting on the war. I'm just letting you guys know, like, markets do care about this stuff, and we saw WIF completely nuked into this reversion band. We actually hit like the orange bands here, which is never been done before territory. It's not good. And now WIF is actually back in the 2s. I think it hit, what was it? It almost hit $5, 4.83. So, you know, this lives on Solana. Solana's taken a hit. They just got a major listing today, though, from Coinbase. I think Futures is actually going to have them added to it. But so far, we're looking at a 51% pullback. If you go to that bottom wick tick, it was 60K. But shout out pivots. You can see where it actually tagged that bottom pivot and bounce. Opportunity strikes, though. Like, if you have the stones to play these, you can see the little preliminary support wick and then finally the final death wick there. there's a lot to trade here. 63% between those moves. Now, you're not going to bottom tick this wick here that lasted like 10 seconds, but you can do damage here. That's 20, 30, 40, whatever. But you just like have to play it out and not diamond hand it. We have to be cognizant. Like, I'm playing with alts that are bleeding on an exchange, on a Solana blockchain that's not passing transactions. It's not a good thing to chill out with. So anyway, Render seems to be reaccumulating, and the drop down seems like it will be a good short opportunity downward. Man, Bevish, back to Render. This is one of the tokens I want to be holding, like by holding a big spot bag of this at like Christmas time. That's the truth behind it. I still want to hold this. This is one of the ones like I don't want to hold for a week or two. This is one of the ones that I want to hold like long term. So I'm gonna try to bag it as long as it's looking ugly. Like, you had an actual crypto company show up at the NVIDIA conference. I'm really bullish on that. Like, there's no way else I can state that. Speaking of that, I need to check on NVIDIA. I did not check on that. Yeah. So NVIDIA is another setup. So this is real similar to the S&P 500, and we've been watching this channel walk for quite some time. For a while, everyone thought NVIDIA would never stop coming down, and I'll be honest with you, they were right for a very long time. This run since this capitulation low has been absolutely mental. They went from basically $110 all the way up to like $900, which is absolutely insane. And now this is like one of the most valuable companies in the world. But when we're watching like channel walks break, we have to be cognizant that the shift has or the structure's changed. No matter what you say, the bull that was in control of this, moving it up in a channel continuously and holding it in this band, because if you touch this band for long periods of time, that's a lot of gasoline. That's a lot of energy from the whales to do this. It broke to the right. Now, is NVIDIA going into accumulation or redistribution? Whoa, that was weird. We don't really know yet. Is it going to bleed like a normal channel walk and find support down to like 500? I hope not, because that's really going to mess with like the S&P 500. But regardless, what we do know is the channel walk broke. There's no arguing that. Price structure has changed, and now we have to see what it is. I don't know what this is yet. I just know it's not this anymore. So it's got to figure out what it's going to do, and if it's going to go back up or if it's going to go back down. But a lot of the stock market right now, they built it up thinking that we were going to get a rate cut, and we didn't. Yeah, you're right. Bitcoin is dropping 61.2. Like I said, it's going to be chaotic going into this happening. There's no way it won't. You may actually see, we won't know the extent for a very long time, but there may be some miners that like close up shop, whether that's planned or they lost support or lost financial capabilities or go bankrupt. That remains to be seen. And I like miners. I wish them the best. I'm just saying it's a part of the cycle. Nature naturally kills them off, especially because they tend to grow and expand their operations in the crazy bull markets where it's just like not sustainable to grow to that size. Long story short, miners with like the biggest, flashiest like media pages, social networking and stuff, they're normally too thick to swing, or they're too they don't run lean enough to maintain through these bear markets. Now I'm talking about a freaking bear market at 60K. That's the wrong way to think about it. But for them, their food in a day gets cut in half. So this is going to hurt for the miners no matter what you do. But we'll watch and we'll go. So what was he asking? Does your standard Rainbow Tool subscription come with the horizontal volume indicator? If you're talking about this bottom one, yes, that's the basic tool. That's the split volume tool. This one over here is the visible range tool from TradingView. I just changed the settings. The default settings on this are pretty whack. I think it's like 50, and I can't make sense of visible range when it looks like this. I think it's even less. It just looks like a big chunk. And I don't like that, so I normally kick it back up to like 500. Gives you more clarity. That's not going to work. So, but anyway, that's my current take on the market. Regardless of what the market does, it's always a sentimental and cool thing for the Bitcoin halving to hit. I don't want to say I'm emotional about it. I just think it's cool, and it's a cool thing to witness. It's like watching an eclipse, but for crypto, and that's don't stare at the sun too hard. So anyway, SPY is taking this shit. I don't know, dude. I'm live streaming with about 6 screens up. If we check Twitter, if there's something popping up on Twitter, let me know. But like I said, it's going to be crazy going into this, and it's going to take like another week to resolve. And then you got to see what TradeFi is going to do. If you think Bitcoin's like doing bad, like and you're scared, dude, TradeFi guys are shitting their pants right now. This is gnarly. Like we almost lost 5,000 today on the S&P. So it's going to be bad. Bad. If it does. Now, maybe, like I said, maybe everything runs away from Bitcoin or runs away from the S&P and they try to find safe haven in gold, the dollar, or silver even. But they may run to Bitcoin too, because a lot of people are still liking and using the BlackRock ETFs as well as like Coinbase. Coinbase is still growing like mad. So anyway, but anywho, that's wrapping up most of the stream. I'm going to let you guys go. We're going to go hop on the Rainbow Trends Discord. I'll go get that set up. And if you're new here, we set up the Discord every week after the video stream. We hop in the Discord and it's basically an open mic. All the different people who want to show up and share their thoughts and ideas on the stream, they can. As long as you got good vibes, you're not an a-hole, by all means, come hang out in the Discord with us and share your trade thesis, sir. If you have questions specific to like Rainbow Trends Tool and you want to ask me over the mic, that's totally cool too. We can talk about anything like that. But with that being said, thanks for calling in. Thanks for watching us. We'll do this next week, and we'll see what happens, man. It's an interesting time. It's not going to be a boring week. I can tell you that for sure. So anyway, I will talk to you guys